Welcome back, traders, to today's video on NASDAQ 100. Right now we are looking on the daily time frame. A number of things have taken place since the last video that I did. So what we're gonna do is we are just gonna jump straight into it, and through that I will then explain to you why I will not be chasing a possible breakout at 23K. Right, so we're gonna discuss all of that. So last week Monday, when we did the analysis, we had a low volume node in this area. That's now changed because a whole bunch of trades came in, right, created a high value node or high volume node right here. So as you can see, this is no longer a low volume node area anymore. It's turned into a high value node area, so we're going to get rid of these right now. And the levels that I put in place, which was 23.32.8 and 23.38.5, basically both of them were tapped. So if I just return that back, right, so Monday, this was a low volume node. That is Monday here, right? We had price go down, close below it, right? That could have messed up your trading. Then we had price close above it. That too could have messed up your trade. Well, you would have made some gains, right? And then you would have had a day to decide if you're going to stay in or get slaughtered, right? But because this is a swing trade, chances are it would have gone against you, in all fairness, right? Then the following day, we had price open, shoot up, fly all the way down, and then you could have tapped it again, right? At this point, this probably would have changed now, right? And then we would have had a new low volume node, which was set for us which just came into view not too long ago. So when price blasted through this, obviously you would have gone into a lower time frame, and then you could have positioned yourself under 23.145, right? You could have done that. But however, whether you saw it or not, it doesn't really matter in all fairness. What does matter is that today is Monday, and we can re-look at this whole situation again with a fresh pair of eyes in preparation for what could take place this week. So we're going to get rid of all of these levels, and once again, if you are interested, you can always click on the thumb at the end of this video, which will show you the playlist of all the NASDAQ videos I've been dropping in regards to movements and what we should do and not do in certain situations, right? So we're going to get rid of this right over here, and we're going to get rid of this for now as well. We're going to get rid of this for now, and then we're going to start to really put in some important levels as it stands right now, based on how we might want to do things. Because the pullback, because this trend line has been broken, right, that I laid there last week, has been broken. Price is now coming down. We need a confirmation of trend line is actually broken. This is where it would knock out the support level down here, okay? Also happens to be in a low volume node area, and we are literally sitting on the value area high of the volume profile, right? And if it all goes pear-shaped, then price will basically make its way down to the point of control. This is around 21K. After that, there is another area of support, which is in this area right here, another low volume node, and it's around 21, let's say 2150, right? So 2150 is just around this level right here. It's around this level right here, right? And like I said, we have a low volume node in that area. So in a nutshell, price could come all the way down, bounce off this area and fly up, right? But in this journey to fly up, right, we also have another situation that we need to be mindful of. and that is this low volume node area sitting right here, which could mean when price gets to 23, you might not want to chase it. You might want to wait for a pullback, right? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the actual move. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put a little level up here. No, what we're gonna do is gonna put a little level in here to mark out the low volume node area. And the low volume node area, which is resistance, because as you can see, this is the NASDAQ at the all-time high, right? It's also formed the resistance at that level as well, okay? So what I've done here for you is I've laid down the bottom side of this zone, which is the low volume node area. So that's the true resistance level. And we're looking at 23.46.7. That's the low side, and the top side we're looking at 23.61.8, right? So in that zone, this is where we want to be careful, because once it touches 23, so if it touches 20, so if it touches 23, that's a rounded number, so 23.000 and 23.467, okay, you don't necessarily want to jump in with a buy, right? You kind of want to wait. If it does a rejection, you want to load it in at another level, right? And the level that I'm basically looking at right now is I'm looking at the 22 range, the 22K range. And the 22K range is where we have this low volume node over here, right? So let's highlight this area. And it's also an area right next to the volume area high, right? So it's a really important level. It's a really important level, right? That you want to keep an eye on. So I am briefly going to break down how I would be doing business in the market, because like I say, it's like you get to a point in playing this game where you don't really have time to be mucking around, right? You just want to make sure that you get it right. And once you start to realize that getting it right basically means that spending a lot of time waiting around, that's when you kind of know that you might be onto something over here, okay? So we have a zone right around the 22 range, and the 22 range is on the low side. We're looking at 22.27.1, right? And then on the high side we're looking at 22.42.9, right? This is the zone right here. So if price rejects off this low volume node today, right, you can tap in with a sell to ride it down to 22.42.9 or 22.27.1. You can ride it down into this zone right here, okay, and secure your trailing stop, say above. Well, it depends. I'll leave you to work out how you would want to do your trailing stop, right? That's not my business. I'll leave you to work that out. But you could write it down here, right? So it might play around for the next couple of days. It might do everything between today and tomorrow and make its way down here. But bottom line, that's what you would do, right? Because if you get a rejection at this level, and this is where, let's just go into a 4 hour, right? So we've got price. It's going now into this low volume node area right here. We can see it. It's on its way in there, right? If it rejects off that, it's a no-brainer move. It's a no-brainer move in terms of what you need to do. And all you be doing is ride it down here. Okay, you ride it down here and then you wait. Now you can set TPs in the zone, or you could use the trading stop. However way you do it, that's how you do it. But this is how you would set it up. Once you get to this level over here, okay, what you're waiting for is you want to know if price is going to bounce from that level or not, right? If it bounces from this level and pushes all the way up, okay, what you want to do is, because you've loaded in at this level over here, you kind of don't care what happens up here, right? But however, you kind of do at the same time. So I will say this. It comes down to, let's just call this 22.3, right? So that will be the middle of this low volume node area. 22.3, right? So it's come down to 22.3, right? You then get the confirmation to say it wants to go up, so you ride it all the way up to the upside, okay? I wouldn't hold it past 23.618 because I'll be expecting price to reject. I wouldn't expect price to make it up to this level right here, which is 23.618. I would expect price to make it to 23.467, right? Or let's just say 23.300. So that'd be the middle, right? But I would expect price to pull back. And then when price pulls back, wherever it lands and starts to move away from, that would be the entry that I look for to break above the all-time high. That's just how I do it, right? No FOMO, just gonna wait, be patient, and make sure the execution is flawless. So with that said, my awesome people from all around the world, I want to thank you for coming over to listen to my views on what I think the NAS100 is going to do. If you find the content useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, you turn on the notification, and you drop us a like. And I will see you all on the next one.